Mr. DJ Rose, Verkeezy, and C's. Welcome you to the No More Black Tears podcast.
Black tears that's heaven sent. Barack the first black president. I love my black skin. I love walking in black excellence. Black power, let's represent. All black, that's evident. I'm sure MLK and Malcolm X both didn't die for the hell of it. Strap a seatbelt, go and settle land. What makes you think that we would sell our land? We wouldn't sell out now. What makes you think that we would go ahead and try to sell out then? No more black tears, black on black kids. Love us as is, love with passion. Paying black bills, learning black skills, making black meals. Black is backing. Big shout out to Fred Hampton. I'm black and proud like I'm James Brown, but I ain't doing no acting. My people here from the motherland. This podcast now active.
No More Black Tears podcast, radio, / everything, you know what I'm saying, talk show. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good, people.
What up, what up?
Yeah, man, we back at it, man. We back at it again, you know what I'm saying? We do it for the people, we do it for our people. What we talking about this week?
So, the first topic of the night, we had two videos sent. They kind of lap each other. So the first one, comedian Ricky Gervais was talking about, offense is not a real thing. Like, people are offended by all kind of things, and just because you're offended by someone, that's your issue to deal with. And he gave some examples of stupid stuff people get offended by. He said racism, sexism, and they're offended by gay people. So basically, the whole idea of people being offended, he doesn't care about. And then on top of that, there was another video of a man talking about grace. And he said a lot of people who easily get offended, they don't really extend grace like that to people. They're not vague people who believe in grace like that because they get easily offended. Because he believed that if you're someone who believes in grace and you extend grace, you wouldn't be so quick to be offended. Cease, you and me kind of had a small conversation about this through text. What's your thoughts about the two being connected?
It's a term. I wrote a project paper in my English class, man. It was when I was still taking my core electives, man. But I had to retake English, and basically, main focus on it was like different types of writing. He's like, "Hey, I'm not teaching you how to write, these extravagant stories and shit." He was like, "We're doing actual shit. Like, if you got a dissertation or do an explanatory, but it's basically correlation and causation." Causation is something is caused because of something. Correlation is just like, the shit rhymes. It's like, this might have something to do with this. And it's like, that's kind of what I use with a lot of comparisons, because I compare shit. I'm like, just because someone doesn't give a lot of grace, does it actually mean that, like, they're not, forgiving or, extend that? So, I mean, it kind of made me think. Me and Vertizi had a back and forth, and I'm like, I kind of do agree with that to a certain extent. And then, like, one thing I was really thinking about was, like, fake offense. It's like, are you just mad that someone said something against you? Or are you actually offended? Because it's like, you can't tell anybody what's offensive. It's like one of those things. You're only going to be able to be mad at something or be offended by something by an individual. Like, I can't tell somebody like, "Hey, Vertizi, you should be offended that someone said this fat joke about you," or, "Hey, Rose, someone said your jacket stinks because it smells like cigars." It's like, I don't care. And it kind of goes into like boundaries. It's like, it's up to a person to set the boundary for what is offensible to them. But then on the flip side, as a person that's being stated like, "Hey, I found this offensive," it's not our response. It's not the world. Basically what the comedian said, I forgot his name, but British dude, that's what we're talking about.
Ricky Gervais.
It's not the world's responsibility to, guard your what's offensive to you, because it's like, just like, what's a joke, what's funny, like South Park, the Mexican, their episode where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of Mexicans and he's always making Jew jokes, and it's like, how can you tell somebody what's offensive? That's kind of what. And the thing about grace, man, is it's really it's not really a two-way street, but it's just it's a thing you do and you give.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie. For me, I kind of feel like this was kind of almost kind of the nails on the head, like because I do feel like if you're a person that really do extend a lot of grace to people, you would try your best not to easily get offended because if you're extending grace, you understand sometimes people have Freudian slips, sometimes people just confuse their words, or they may not be able to, and that's something we got to really understand. Everyone don't have the power of articulation. Like there are some people who really know how to word stuff in a way, and there's some people that's like, hey man, give me a second because I'm trying to not say it in a way that's disrespectful. And then sometimes, because I've been in conversations like this where people are trying to tell me something, and I'm like, yo, just spit it out, bro. Just spit it the fuck out. Whatever you got to say, I don't care how it comes out, just spit it the fuck out. Because there are some people who are very mindful. Like even in this generation, a lot of people might not want to say you're fat or obese. They might just want to say you're extra healthy or something like that, or you just got meat on your bones, because they do want to be mindful of how they address people about certain stuff. I try to be a person that, is always very gracious because, I make a lot of jokes and I'm saying stuff sometimes that's off the cuff. And I don't know necessarily what kind of trauma you've been through, what kind of stuff you've had happen, or what your mood is for that day. But if you tell me you didn't like something, like it's nothing for me to be like, cool, I apologize, I didn't mean nothing by it, because sometimes you're just having a conversation. Like a lot of times, me and Nicole could be having a conversation about something. Sees you could be sitting here, and we're talking about people who always put ketchup on their steak, and we just think that's just an ick. And then we've never been around you when you've eaten steak before. But you put ketchup on your steak, and now you feel like we're talking shit about you.
Right.
And it's like, no, we didn't even know you do that. We didn't even know you do that. So sometimes we are too quick to be offensive to people. I remember one of my Bible verses when I was in my 20s was like an Acts, and it was like, be slow to be slow to speak, slower to anger, and quicker to listen. And I remember when me and my pastor was breaking that down, and a lot of times we just don't. We want to speak without even thinking, and we want to take offense and get angry when someone says something, and not understand where they're coming from or what they mean by it, because they could see. And I don't know why. I've had a lot of debates like that where people got mad at stuff I said, and they took what I said out of context. And I've had to explain, no, that's not what I meant. That's not how I meant it. I apologize if you took offense to it. For me personally, for me to really get offended by a person through a conversation, typically the last couple of years, it's what the intent is. Because like words don't really bother me. People saying stuff don't bother me. But I will say this, like if C's is calling me obese or fat, I don't really care. Like if we're just joking and whatever. But if you're saying something to me and your goal is to hurt my feelings, like you are saying that knowing that you're trying to hurt my feelings, even if it don't hurt my feelings, I might get upset because why are you trying to piss me off? Like it's one of the reasons why sometimes, like as I've matured, sometimes I'd be like, there's certain conversations I will engage in because I feel like, yo, I have to stand my ground and let it be known it's not okay. But there's plenty of times I'd be like, you got it, and I walk away because once I start feeling like, you know what, this is no longer a conversation where we're both trying to come to an agreement as two adults. You're just trying to piss me off, and I don't want to just allow you just to piss me the fuck off. So I'd rather just be like, cool, you got it. Let me move the fuck on and go about my day, But just in general, everyone don't know what you got going on. I feel like we got to be chill sometimes when we are quick to get offended by shit, because sometimes you got to give people that grace and that benefit of doubt. They might not have meant it that way, and they didn't know what you was going through. But if something is really offensive, I'm a firm believer of, hey, we grown. Let's just have a conversation and talk. Say what it is that offended you. Say why you didn't like it. Because there's plenty of times people in my life would tell me this person said something and I didn't like it. And I'll be like, you just need to talk to them. And there's times where I've had to talk to people or whatever. And then sometimes, man, before I pass it on, sometimes people get offended by shit that is so oblivious to you. Like we live in an age people get offended by your absence. Like people get offended because you don't text them that often. You don't call them that often. You don't know. I could have been very busy this week with work. I could have been very busy with school. And I'm not saying that you should be so busy you can't pick the phone up. It just might not even cross my mind not to hit you up because I was just in a different headspace these last 2 or 3 weeks. But people get offended by that. Sometimes people get offended. Me and C's had this conversation because you don't get invited to certain stuff. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm gonna keep it real. The only person at this table that has literally told me they are interested in wrestling is C's. It makes no sense for me to invite the other two people at the table if I get 2 tickets to a wrestling event. It only, for me, the way my brain works, it only makes sense to invite C's. But there are people, C's might get 3 tickets to a soccer match. He knows I don't like soccer. His brain might be like, I'm still gonna invite my homeboy, even though my homeboy don't like soccer. But I'm gonna be real. If he don't invite me to the soccer match, can I be honest? You know I don't like soccer. So I'm cool not going. But I'll go if you want me to go. But I ain't gonna have no issue if I see Nicole and Rose at the soccer match. I'm not even gonna say, well, I didn't come to the soccer match. There are people like that. They will literally look in your face and wonder why you didn't come to something. Yo, bro, you never said you like escape rooms. We brought up escape rooms. Yo, you told me you don't like going to the movie theaters. So why you mad that me and so-and-so went to? Like, yo, I'm not gonna just be inviting people to shit that they don't have an interest in. So it's so easy to get offended by shit. Sometimes it's just, yo, bro, why is you offended? I think that's another question we gotta ask ourselves. Why am I even fucking offended by this shit? And once you answer that shit, most of the time, if you were growing as an adult, you realize, bro, I'm in my own fucking feelings for no fucking reason, to be honest.
Right.
Because it's really not no reason to really be offended. Because you could easily just say, yo, Bertizzi, I don't like wrestling, but I like spending time with you as a friend. So if you're going to the wrestling event, I'll go to with you. Guess what? Now going forward, if I have an extra ticket, Nicole, I'll make sure I invite you if you're in town. I just didn't want to push something on you that I didn't think you would enjoy.
Yeah, like I said before, though, offense is also very much a choice. And what I mean by that, I guess to further elaborate, my dad used to say, when someone know they can go for your goat, they'll go for it every chance you give them. And mentality say is the intentionality, like you said. If someone's intention is to hurt you, then you got to do a little bit more of guarding your gate. Meaning, I'm going to be a little bit more mindful about what conversations, what type of access someone has to me. Someone has to have access to your emotions. Your emotions are your responsibility. If someone has access that much to your emotions, like you said, then you got to do a self evaluation. Maybe what they said really was offensive, but why did it affect you to the point where you grew in offense? I think there's nothing wrong by someone saying something and you've been like, you know what they say, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. But I ain't really giving somebody a third time.
Like George Bush said, fool me once, shame on you. But you can't get fooled again.
You can't get fooled again. There was not a second fooling. You gave someone the opportunity and you keep giving access. So another thing I'll add to that is sometimes, like you said, people be offended. You don't even know. Like I remember, C's, you remember one time for my birthday, we had went to Miami. It was me and two of my homegirls, C's, MGH, and a couple of my other homegirls. Once they knew we were there, of course, you post pictures and stuff. They call and they're like, "Hey, you ain't invite us." I'm like, "I ain't know you hoes wanted to go." Simply put, there's been times I've invited them to stuff before and we couldn't even get out the group chat. Now we in the destination. I mean, not like we in a third world country or somewhere on a beach. We on the beach, but we in Miami. Like, if you want to go, pack up and come. There's been times that this same group of females have not invited me, but I took no offense because I realized they with girls that I probably don't kick it with, all those things. You know how it is. You got all these micro groups of friends, and these groups don't hang out with these groups. So it's easy to get offended when your heart posture ain't right. As long as you're checking yourself at the door, it really don't have to go that deep. But I do think that grace comes in when you say, okay, I can forgive. I don't have to forget. Grace means I'm not going to allow this to bother me. And a lot of times we get grace and forgiveness mixed up a little bit.
when I forgive somebody, I'm not forgiving them to make them feel better. I'm forgiving them so that I can let it go and move on. So even with grace for me, when I give grace, it's because I simply don't want to argue about it or I don't want to be involved in it. Like you said, at some point you just got to kind of step away from some stuff. I'd rather be the thermostat than the thermometer, right? Or is it the other way around, y'all?
No, that's right.
I'd rather be the thermostat. I want to be able to go into a space, and I'm working on that, even personally, like with family, with friends, with changes of life, with differences of things and career. I'd rather be the thermostat. I don't want anyone to be able to get me so out of pocket that now I look offended or I feel offended or I'm sitting somewhere and I'm upset. And sometimes it's usually the people closest to you. I'm like you, Ver. I'm usually, if I'm really offended, it's somebody close to me. Like friends and stuff like that. I've grown to an age of realizing that there's really no point of holding offense. Like you said, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what people have going on, and really it's a lack of conversation. What get us caught up a lot of times is because we don't want to talk about the stuff. We too busy wanting to feel the feeling and be in our feelings than to have a conversation. And we'll tell people, I don't like tough time conversations. No, but you like sitting somewhere being mad? That don't make no damn sense. You better off talking about it. And then there's so much clarity that comes from a conversation that you didn't even realize. Then you're like, oh, she ain't reach out to me. She ain't text me. Yeah, but her mama sick or something going on. And then you're like, oh, well, she could have said something. Yeah, she could have, but that don't mean she needed to. At some point, that's where grace kicks in. Hey, man, I understand. I ain't even tripping. Go on, do your thing. It ain't never a problem. And I think that it matters. And I think if we really sat somewhere and did the assessment of the times we've been offended and the people that's in our life currently versus the people that have offended us in the past and they're no longer there, there's a correlation. At some point, you really just have to do inventory and you have to guard your gate. Don't allow everything to get so close to you that it burns you. Don't be the moth that's so close to the flame that you're willing to get burned by just being attracted to the same thing, the same mentality, the same narrative. At some point, you have to change, and it's called maturity. So I agree with him. I think that a lot of times grace is not given, it's not extended, but offense, regardless of whether you're giving the grace or wanting to receive the grace, offense is a choice. Wash your hands, walk away from it, and learn how to deal with people with a long handle wooden spoon. Sometimes you just got to put some distance and some space between some stuff. Some battles you got to choose to fight. Hey man, it is what it is. We getting too old to be stressed out and aggravated about somebody offending me.
Yeah, man. Why would you even want to your point, Nicole, why would you want to sit around and be angry? Like, I go like this age, I hate even having that feeling.
Right.
Like, I hate getting in arguments with people and to the point where I'm angry. I hate that feeling. And then before I pass it on Rose, also like you said, man, sometimes you just gotta look at yourself and be like, okay, cool. This person got this going on. Yo, my grandma passed away a couple years ago. I told certain people because those were the people that I felt like needed to know in that immediate space. And I eventually told everyone else. Man, don't be mad that you ain't the first person to find out. Like, it's okay. It's okay. You don't need to be the first person to find out. Don't be like, well, why they ain't tell me? Yo, it's reasons why. Maybe they wasn't thinking about that. Maybe it's like I'm in close contact with these people. Or it could be something as simple as you showed them something in the past that makes them feel like you might be insensitive to the information they're going to give you. And that's not the energy they need in that moment.
Yeah. And it's like, it's the BOD, giving people the benefit of the doubt. So it's like,
I thought it stood for big old dick last time you was talking.
It
depends. It switches.
Depends on the scenario.
Context.
It could.
Context is key.
Like, there's nuts on the wall. Is that a walnut? there's what do you call nuts on your chin? Chin nuts?
Hey man,
Walnut
if a hoe is outside standing, is she outstanding?
I don't know, but what are nuts on the chin? Chin nuts?
Hey.
No, it's a dick in your mouth. So
if the nuts are big enough.
Nuts is on your chin. I don't care how big your dick is. That dick is in your mouth, bro. I don't care how big a nigga's nuts is. If nuts is on your chin,
some hoes can take
that
the
dick
dick
is in your
some
mouth.
hoes can take the dick and the balls at one time.
But if them nuts is on your chin, that dick is damn
what
sure in your
what was
mouth.
that cartoon Kevin back in the day on the scene? Kirby. They super.
Whoa.
Super swallow.
Hell no.
Our apologies, folks. Our apologies. Rose, you were saying about grace and offense. Some people might hear these comments and take big offense to it.
That's noise.
I pray you give the No More Black Tears a lot of grace.
Niggas better sit back and laugh.
But yeah, so it's like lots of people give people the benefit of the doubt. So it's like there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody deserves a little bit of leeway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you give people a little bit of leeway, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes that leeway, you know what I'm saying, you take an inch, you take a mile, whatnot. But being offended, usually people know what people's triggers are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So people know what your triggers are, and then when you talk to them, especially people are close, so it's like everybody know what their triggers are. So sometimes people just be trying to push a button. Sometimes like I'm gonna push this button, and I'm just gonna see how far I can get.
I'm not touching you.
I'm just gonna see how far I can get. And then when they get too far, and it's like when you're touching the stove, like or getting close to the stove, like, your parents should say, back up. But some parents just let you touch it, and like you learn something. You live and you learn. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. So it's like sometimes people as should live and learn, but some people live and don't learn. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing wrong with the BOD, and there's nothing wrong with grace, and there's nothing wrong with being offended by certain things. But some people skin are not as tough as other people's skin. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to learn to walk that line, and it's a thin line. You know what I'm saying? It's a thin line between love and hate. So it's like, oh yeah, I love you, but then you hate on this, hate on this. So like it's that line. You gotta learn, like, do you want to walk that fence all the time? You know what I'm saying? You want to walk that fence all the time. I don't want to walk no fence. I just want to be me, and I just want everybody else to be their self and be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because like if you can't be yourself, like dog, that it's like you in a prison or in a cage or in a fence. And it's like people should be able to be. Terrible. People should be able to be their self.
Shout out to MGH. And man, one time he said, I feel like I'm in a dog. I feel like I'm in a cage. I feel like I'm a dog in a cage, but I got my own key. This man literally unlocked something. Like, it's my choice. I don't have to feel this way. I'm choosing to feel this way. So if something is making me feel this way, but I have the power to choose to be inside this feeling or outside that feeling, then I have to. I mean, he said it jokingly, but it was so matter of fact when he said it. And it's like, I'm older now and I'm thinking about it. And every time we talk about that conversation, I'm like, bro, but that was the moment where it clicked. Like, I get to choose whether or not I want to be bound to this feeling or this emotion or this situation. And if I choose I don't want to be, I'm going to let myself out of the situation. I'm not going to hold myself hostage to my emotions or to what you said to me or to what you did to me or what you didn't do for me. Like, that's just too much. That's too many emotions to carry around for no damn reason.
Yeah, I just feel like if everybody is going to be real, you know what I'm saying? If you being real to yourself and real to the still, like, then everything else will work itself out. You know what I'm saying? But when you walk on the fence and trying to satisfy other people and other things, then things are going to be said and things are going to be misconstrued because you're not being real. You know what I'm saying? But if you're always being real, then there's nothing, there's no shadow, there's no There's nothing like to be misunderstood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. A lot of times, like I know me, man. I try to read, people close to me, man. And me and C's have a lot of these, deep conversations late at night about just the philosophy of how we view life. And a lot of times, I just be thinking about the why, like why people do make some of the choices they make, why they think the way they think. Because I just feel like if I can get an understanding of this person, then it makes it easier to deal with certain stuff sometimes, at least from my perspective. And and there's plenty of times I might talk to some friends and during the conversation, I might just hear something in their voice, and it might just be like, "You don't normally sound like this. Like, are you upset right now? Are you sad? Or you must like just this morning I was talking to MGH, and he yawned a certain way when I called him, and I said, "Nigga, you must be home." He said, "Nah, I'm at work." I said, "Oh, that was like a yawn that I'm in the bed or whatever." Because I didn't call that nigga early in the morning while he in the bed or whatever, and that's what that yawn sounded like to me, man. But I try to to pinpoint that, but it's also like you brought up MJH earlier, man. He's such a good person that he reminds me of Trevor Noah as he's a male, especially a black male, that's in touch with his feelings enough that he would tell you certain stuff that some men might be afraid to tell you because they're gonna look like a bitch ass nigga. Like it's plenty of conversations because he knows I like to joke a lot where he'd be like, "Bro, you doing that thing now, man? Like, yeah, you pushing it, bro." Yeah. And I'd be like, "Okay, cool." Because it lets me. Because sometimes I don't know. You don't know when you're being too much in a conversation sometimes, and sometimes it's good to have a friend to be like, "Yo, hey, I'm not in the mood for all of that, bro."
Yeah.
But he does it in such a way where it's not offensive to me. He's not yelling at me. He's not cussing at me. He's not talking down. He just does it in such a like, "Yo, man, hey, just come on, chill." And then me and C's is another friend that he'll be like, "Hey, all right, man, understood, heard," and that let me know, okay, this nigga ready to move on. Yeah. And most of the time we'll move on, but then there's sometimes it's like, "Nah, nigga, I'm not ready to move on. Just because you said move on, bro, I'm not ready to move."
Like, no, it's like you beating a dead horse, man. It's like I get what you're saying, bro, but it's like it comes to the end of the conversation. I'm like, man, it's just like you're not.
That ain't how you be saying it, nigga.
I'm
gonna
prove a point, though. I'm gonna prove a point, Levert. Why do you keep doing it after he done already told you to chill out?
Shit,
said
man.
Why? Why?
Because I feel like, we grown, man. You can't just tell me to stop.
No. What I was gonna say was, it's like the conversation's supposed to be a solution, right, or aim to it, and it's not going to the brick wall. It's like we get the brick wall. It's like, I'm one person is able to see like, hey, bro. Hey, at least on my end, this is what I'm seeing. We hit an impasse.
But I do appreciate him being transparent when he does that, though, because it does let me know I need to chill. And we've had conversations. I'll be like, well, man, maybe if you just say it this way, I won't keep on going. But, you're right, though. When you do say it, I need to go and just pull the horses back. But that's just something we just all need to do. Like, when we just start feeling like the water is starting to get above your head, and then be like, yo, man, I need a moment. Yo, chill out. And sometimes we don't want to do that because we feel like that's making us vulnerable sometimes.
Or weak.
Or weak. But, at the end of the day, man, we all live in this experience, man, this human experience, man. We all go through every emotion. There ain't no emotion that you should not feel in life. You should be happy at times. You should be sad at times. You should be angry at times. Like, you should feel every single emotion that there is to feel in life because that's what life is. Like, if you're only happy, then you ain't living life the right way. If you're only sad, you ain't living life the right way. And if you're always angry, you ain't living life the right way, man. And you should even cry at times, man. Like, that's just part of life and being human.
Yeah, for sure.
True. So, speaking of crying, man, we might have some tears. Some people might not have no tears, man. Moving on to TNT.
Tears or no tears. Dynamite.
Boom. So, the first TNT of the night, Don Lemon, was arrested, at a protest, at an ICE protest. He was arrested. And then he was later released without bond because they didn't really have no charges on him. They was trying to basically accuse him of being one that protesters or, like they said, agitators at the rally. But he was there as for the media, as a reporter, as a journalist. C's, what's your thoughts on this?
I have tears not for Don Lemon, but for people that are actually trying to do something that they believe in. People that are trying to convey a message, whether they agree with it or not. So it's like, we're thinking about somebody who actually has some type of fame, maybe in just the media space, but it's like somebody that was not doing anything that's actually trying to get the story out there. They're just putting you in this bubble by you're guilty by association. You get what I'm saying? It just shows you like these ICE raids and these National Guard raids that they're doing on people. It's like people are getting arrested and deported for no reason with no legal reason. And like quick little sidebar, there was a judge in Minnesota, Asian lady, but she basically just said she's a prosecutor. She said this system. She said the system sucks and this job sucks. I quit. So I mean, like they're literally deporting people that aren't supposed to be getting deported. No due process of law, and people are being involved in it. It's like it's really not new. It's just a new target. They change the target every couple of years, and it's basically anybody who's against mass deportation and associated protests and ideas. They are now being quote unquote oppressed or persecuted.
Yeah, I got tears. I'm happy that Don Lemon was released from prison without any bond. And they just said, "Hey, go home, nigga." Just for the simple fact of he's been a journalist and a reporter for a long time, especially one of the prominent black ones in this country. And just because he doesn't work for one of the major networks, he's still a reporter. If you follow him on TikTok or social media, he still reports on the news and he talks about it on a daily basis. And the reason why I have tears is we need journalists and reporters to not feel pressure from the government to report what the government wants them to report. That's what journalism, that's what news reporting has always been. It's been a way for people like us people like us who are civilians to get an idea of, yo, what's going on in my government? Because yes, I can't read 3 million pages of the SB report. But guess what? I can get a journalist that I trust to break that shit down and break it down for me. Just like with ICE, I'm not educated on every single thing going on with ICE. But if I can get someone like Don Lemon that I trust to break it down to me, we need that. We need unbiased news. And the minute you start arresting people in the media, you start basically, we start leaning to like some of these dictatorships in other countries where the news we are getting is the news they want us to get. And so that's why I have tears.
I got tears. Like C says, probably not just specifically for him. I knew he wasn't gonna stay in there long. If I'm correct, if I'm not, please correct me. I think this protest happened well before he was actually arrested.
They came to his hotel and arrested him.
Yeah, the protest had happened like not even the same day, right? I think it was sooner. I think it was like earlier in a period of time, and then they came, and he wasn't the only one. They arrested, I think, 3 or 4 other journalists that were present. Came at their house late at night. It's just really weird. It's a strange time to be in where we don't even know what our rights are as to what we can or cannot do. I mean, I'm a U.S. citizen. If they roll up on me, what I'm supposed to do? Just allow them to take me to jail? I saw this. One of the young ladies that was arrested. She was on her way to her a medical appointment, and she talked about what they did to her after they arrested her. And it's not getting as much news coverage as a lot of other things are getting right now. It's like our media is being controlled. We're being shown what they want us to see. And it goes back to the mentality of the revolution will be televised, but will it? Is it going to be televised, or is it time for us to start creating other avenues for us to report the news? Time and technology has changed. What are we doing? How are we getting ahead of this? What changes are being made? Government got off a shutdown today. They're threatening to go back into shutdown for this very conversation. What are going to be the limits? What are the rules? What is the rules of engagement? How much of our Constitution are we going to bend and curve to fit the needs of whatever individual we're willing to support and not support? It's funny because I made a joke with my coworker earlier, and I was like, it's like our journalists now are like the disciples during biblical times, and they're being persecuted for discussing what they know or what they've seen and going back and reporting what they've experienced. And no, I don't want you to spread the news. Think about that. So if history repeats itself, as people would say, Are we going to start losing our journalists? Are people are going to be too afraid to speak up? Are they going to be too afraid to say certain things simply because they feel like there's going to be a target on their back? At that point, how are we going to know what's really going on? I think that is a big conversation to have. I'm interested to see where our elected officials are going to take this conversation. It's sad. Like I said, I don't have necessarily tears for him. You all saw how happy he was when he got out, walking behind his husband or guy friend or whatever. He knew he was getting out. But there's a lot of people that don't got that type of pull. They don't got that type of help. They don't got that type of support. Like you said, they deporting people. They arresting people that don't even look like they don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? So at what point are we drawing the lines? At what point are we fighting back? They minimized the coverage of what actually was happening in Minnesota. We made jokes about it, but literally, what if that was happening right here in Augusta, where I'm going to work and I got to worry about being pulled over, being harassed? What do I say? And a part of me also don't have tears too, because I think it's good for other cultures and other nationalities to know how it feels to have a police officer roll up on you and you can't say nothing and you don't know what to say and they're already agitated and their guns are already drawn. It's Black History Month, so I won't go too far into that, but I think we are looking at some strange times. And if we don't get a handle on it, there's going to be a lot of changes in our world that I don't even know we even prepared for.
Yeah, I ain't got no tears for Buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, he you know why he was so happy when he got out because he just got served. Yeah, yeah, exactly. He just got served. He was like, oh yeah, this is a nice little breakout from reality.
It was vacation.
Yeah, like so he got some massages. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing in there. So it's like
had some nuts on his chin.
Yeah, he might have did.
Yeah.
I don't know if his mouth. I don't know if he's bottom or top, but he was on top of the news that day.
Hey man, moving on to someone else whose rights got violated, man. So back in I think 2016, Tommy Bell was a teenager at 15 years old, was arrested and jailed for a few weeks wrongfully. The Kansas City Police Department and the government in Kansas City basically have came to agreement to give him $900,000 and apologize for wrongfully jailing him. Now, a federal judge has to approve the agreement, but C's, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, tears, man. It's a kind of a correlation to the other case because it's like somebody who didn't do anything was falsely accused, and it's like we always hear about these cases afterwards, like the awards, but it's like, does your record get expunged at all? Do they ever take anything off where it's like completely cleared? Because I've heard of one or two cases where people have been falsely accused. They won their court case, but they're still struggling. Like there was this 45-year-old black guy that something happened where it was proven wrong, but he still couldn't find a job because the record that hit arrest was still on his record. And they didn't expunge it. So he's now not having to just fight for money. You're now having to fight for basically your livelihood and your reputation. So it's like, it's sad to see. It's like, they always why did it take 5, 6, 7 years, more than, 5, 6, 7 years? It's like, yeah, well, you almost getting almost $1 million, but the government's still going to tax it. And it's coming out of some pot that the city has. So it's like, it's very unfortunate. A lot of these other colored people, brown, are seeing that. And just a lot of people associated with it are now seeing, hey, a lot of people have not done anything and had their lives been damaged because of some BS that you can't just put, once you open that box, you can't just put the stuff back in.
Did that settlement happen today? Did they announce it today?
Nah, it was announced, I want to say maybe 2-3 years ago. But the judge got to finalize it.
Today is the anniversary of Trayvon Martin's would have been birthday. He would have been 31 years old. So when we talk about such a young kid growing up and having to live through this, there's a lot of our brown colored boys that this happened to. Yes, it happened to a lot of grown men, but there's a lot of the young man in Brunswick, the young man in Valdosta. It's sad because Emmett Till. This isn't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? So now they're throwing money. Does money? I'm gonna ask y'all. Does money make it better?
Yeah.
It helps, but not really.
How much money?
He got
enough.
he got 900, and he was 15 4 years ago. He 20 something like that. Hey, good for him.
Man, Chance said it in a song recently on his last album, man. They said, man, would you rather cry in a hoop or cry in a Benz? Man, I don't want to cry at all, man. How about that answer? I don't want to cry at all. So,
but if I'm gonna cry, what I'm crying in?
Ask Future.
Man, I don't want to cry at all, man. I don't want to have to spend 3 weeks in jail to touch 900,000 because, as somebody who's been in the system, and worked it, man, let me tell you, man, it's a reason why we don't, house like, 15-year-olds, man, like that. Because there's no telling, like,
the psychological
what kind of trauma, he could have been dealing with during that time span. Because the details of was he in a juvenile facility, was he with adults, like we don't know. Each state is different, but ain't no telling. 3 weeks is a long time to sit in jail, man. I got tears, man, just because this, like you said, Nicole, this has been happening a long time. And just to add to that, man, the reason why it kind of happens to like our brown and black teenagers so much is once they start hitting the same age, a lot of white people start just viewing them as like threats and adults.
Yeah.
So this was a very sad story, man. I am happy that him and his family most likely will get some compensation, but 900,000 to me is not even enough, man. But I'm glad they did come to something though. Moving on to another black person, but this black person has spent time in prison. Boosie. So there was a couple years ago. This story is, it has really blown up the last few weeks, but this happened a couple years ago. So Boosie needed insulin, and a fan drove 3 hours to give Boosie insulin. Boosie offered the fan money. The fan didn't take no money. They were just happy to get some pictures with Boosie apparently. And then literally the fan, I guess on the way home, got some lottery tickets. I think it was $10,000, y'all, that they got from the lottery tickets. And Boosie even posted it and everything. Tears of laughter, because I ain't gonna lie, when I saw the story, I'm on Twitter. I had a gone message Gronk. That's a little AI on Twitter. Be like, yo, is this real? And that motherfucker responded back after 10 minutes. Yeah, this is a real story, nigga. And I was like, this actually happened?
It took that long?
Like, yeah, sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it's normally quick, but Gronk normally will tell you exactly if the story is real or not, fabricated. But me and MJ was talking about it, and he was like, man, I'm just surprised there was nobody closer to help him. And I told him, I said, yo, bro, like, just because you fuck with Boosie don't mean you fuck with him like that.
Right.
Like, you might not want to give that nigga your insulin. You might need that your goddamn self, man. So, hey, shout out to Boosie, man. This just show Boosie got people in the streets that love him enough, because for this bitch to be diabetic too and be able to give her insulin to this man and, probably have to make a decision. I'm either going to die and go an insulin shot, or I need to lay off the soda and honey buns for a couple weeks so I can re-up. Man, shout out, man. Shout out. I ain't gonna lie, because me, I'd have been like, Boosie, man, how much does insulin mean to you, dog? Like, I'm from around the way. I got to leave with some.
Furthermore, why he didn't have no insulin? I don't understand that. That don't make no damn sense to me. Boosie been in kidney failure, a diabetic, and all kind of other shit. When he was in jail, when he got out of jail, this man got a whole compound. And I know he got some legal challenges and stuff like that. But my nigga, we as black people got to stop making the money and not taking care of ourselves. That don't make no damn sense to me. It don't. So, I mean, I see where her heart was. God bless her. Obviously, God did. But Boosie didn't need that. He should have told that woman to go back home, pick up her sack, and take that medicine with her and take it back home. Like, you taking something from somebody that you can go get yourself. You're not hurting. And I know that sometimes insulin is on a shortage. I do realize that sometimes these people got to pay out of pocket. But if somebody going to pay out of pocket, I think Boosie, who sit courtside at a lot of NBA games and do a whole bunch of shit, could afford his own insulin. There's someone that work in healthcare. My nigga, why did you run out of insulin? That's like telling somebody with high blood pressure that, oh, I'm going to bring you some of my blood pressure pills. No, why don't you go take your ass to the doctor and get your medicine? I don't understand that. I love Boosie. Anybody that know me know I love me some Boosie, but the people that's behind the character we see on social media make you shake your head sometimes because I don't understand that.
That's why I have no tears, because it's really like I'm piggybacking off of what you said, because it's like, you have a condition. Why don't you have what you need? It's just like if somebody has an allergy, extreme allergy, you don't have an EpiPen, right? You would think somebody has some type of medicine, something that you need and require. And it's like, I'm thinking like I don't know where he was. 3 hours. There was nobody around closer, and there was no doctors. You got money, so I know you can afford. Like, I've heard of the markup on insulin being like, it costs $20 to make, but they charge $200 because the pharmaceutical industry is messed up. But it's just like, dude, you have a condition, you got money, so there's simply nobody in your camp, nobody in your entourage, nobody in your clique around you. And it's like, man, I'll be like, lady, take the damn money. Take it. I don't care. You can't refuse it. Take the damn money. But just, if you have a condition, man, you should be prepared, man. This is just like one of them situations. I guess he just wanted to be. I'm like, I have no tears. He's all right. They're good, whatever.
Yeah, I ain't got no tears either because he always going online asking for something. He ain't did it in a while. But I ain't never seen a rich nigga always online. Hey, I got this. Can somebody come do this for me? Like, what kind of Stone Age
poverty mindset
things that you got going on? Like you can't make a phone call, but you got to get online because man, I ain't got no tears, man. I was sad that the judge let him off a couple weeks ago. I wanted him to go to jail for two years or so.
Yeah.
Sit down, you know what I'm saying?
Sit down somewhere.
Jail food.
Yeah, and I love Boozy too.
And they're gonna give you all the insulin you need in that motherfucker. Best believe that.
But
Tax dollars.
I just wanted to see him sit down for a little while because he started begging and stuff, Trump and all this other stuff. But I thought you was a real ninja. Nah, F them streets, right?
So there was a stripper between ages, I want to say 20 and 23. She was staying with her 55-year-old boyfriend that she met at the strip club that she worked at. She was eventually arrested for decapitating her said 55-year-old boyfriend. I ain't got no tears because the boyfriend was basically Hispanic, and I'm not trying to make it seem like that makes it better or whatever, but man, hey, you old niggas gotta leave some of these young hoes alone, man.
Leave them alone.
Because there are some young hoes that generally do like older niggas for more than they just their money. They just, whatever reason it is. But for the most part, bro, man, it's just too many stories of young women doing crazy shit to old niggas. So, yo, you 55, you with a bitch that's old enough to possibly be your granddaughter, depending on when you start having kids. Like, that's just some weird shit right there, bro. Leave these bitches, younger hoes, my bad, alone, bro. Like, stop thinking with your dick. Find yourself, if you 55, find yourself a bitch between 45 and 55 that has a reason to mess with your old ass. Stop. When you go to the strip club, spend your money. Don't take them home for more than one night. Okay? You can take them home for one night and do your business with them, but don't let them be like a stray cat or dog where you don't let the motherfucker move in now. Don't do that.
Yeah, I ain't got no tears because like 3-6 said, don't save her. Shout out to Project Pat. He saved her and then he didn't get saved. He did not get saved. He got decapitated and it's like and I don't know how.
Who
and it's hard.
Decapitating people.
Like that's hard to do.
What
like
she use, an axe?
Yeah, she probably drugged him and then either while he was sleeping or basically after he had passed away, probably just sawed his head off or chopped it off or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like she was crazy and she was Hispanic too. So then she fled to Mexico, got caught. It's like, what in the world?
It was a cartel hit.
That's what there you go.
It
There
was
you
like,
go.
It was probably a cartel, but it sounds crazy.
It's giving belly.
And it's a crazy thing to a woman of that age do something like that. And it's like, that wasn't her boyfriend, man. That was just a trick, man. She was just finding a place to live. But it's like, that's crazy, bro. Like, that's like what happened in the old school ways where, make them have an old nigga have a heart attack stuff like that. They used to do, drug him, put some in his food, offer him the easy way. That's just wild. That's some wild stuff, man. That's some wild stuff.
Yeah, man. So moving on to the last team tonight, there was this lady who got online and she said, man, a lot of these baddies be broke. They be homeless. They be living in homeless shelters or on the streets. They don't have a place to lay their heads because while they're young, they think they're going to find somebody that's going to take care of them. But there's women out here that are not baddies who literally make better girlfriends and wives. So these baddies never get wiped up and they end up homeless. See, what's your thoughts?
Man, I got no tears for him. This is the choices he makes. You're not a bad B. You're just doing bad B. No tears for it because it's like you pick and choose the situations you want to be in, and it's like we got to the place where people, or specifically, it's a lot of women who believe because they're pretty, or they have nice bodies that they deserve certain things. So it's like, there's plenty of ways to get paid. Like be a model, get a rich boyfriend, but having 15 tricks and 15 guys you're using for money, I guess you're choosing how you want to live.
It's modern day prostitution. Let's call it what it is. Prostitutes don't have nowhere to live either. Prostitutes don't have no money. Listen, what is it on Baby's Kids when that man said, beauty is skin deep, but ugly is to the bone. Like, y'all got to get to a point. How old you gonna keep tricking? How old are you willing to keep tricking? If you think that this nigga that you've been dating for however many years, and you ain't been dating him, you've been dating him, he ain't been dating you, how long do you think that the check's gonna keep lasting? You remember, it used to be a shame or honor for you to be a trick. You remember how on Set It Off, when when Jada slept with Nate to get this check, she didn't even keep the check after she found out the nigga didn't even get into the school. It wasn't a badge of honor to be a trick. I don't know what this shit is that's going on where, and I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, y'all got to stop. Them bodies gonna give out. And if you ain't noticed, all of that shit you did when you went to Miami and got all that stuff stuck into your body and everything, if you pay attention to the rich folk, they getting the shit taken out of their body. You bitches didn't even have enough money to get it done legit, and you don't even have enough money to get it out of your body. So at this point, it's your body gonna fade, the shit gonna drop, titties gonna sag, you're gonna have kids. Anybody that have kids, it's not, your body is not gonna always bounce back the way you think it's gonna bounce back. So be mindful about that. Like, my bad, y'all.
Nah, you good. But yeah, man, I ain't got no tears, man, because when it comes to these hoes, one thing is you gotta have a retirement plan. I'll never forget watching The Wire. Stringer Bell was so smart because he kept trying to tell Avon, yo, bro, we can't be dope boys forever. I'm trying to own more than these blocks. I'm trying to own buildings, bro. We need businesses, legitimate businesses.
Bread and butter, man.
Exactly. If you're gonna be a hoe, the retirement plan is for you to find a guy while you still bad, get wifed up, have a couple kids. That way, at least if you get divorced, you can get child support for a couple years. But that's the plan, though. Brittany really gave y'all a plan. She gave y'all a game.
And even if you don't get wiped up, what are you doing with this money? Bitch, what are you doing? He paying for you to get everything done, to look the way he wants you to look, the way he wants you to smell, the way he wants you to act. What are you doing with the cash that he's putting in your hand?
They living for today. They're not thinking, hey, when I turn 35, there's a whole new group of young bitches behind me. And guess what? Each generation of young hoes get worse and worse. They more willing to do whatever these niggas want to do. They taking less money. They don't give a fuck. Like these generation, hey, the next generation of young hoes, they gonna be worse than this current generation of young hoes. It's gonna get worse and worse, man. And let me keep it real. Without saying no names, I know hoes out there that was living reckless in their 20s, and these hoes have been in homeless shelters, have slept on motherfuckers' couches. And they just suck dick to sleep on these couches now. They just slept. I know motherfuckers that have stayed in one bedroom apartment with niggas.
I don't know how you
sucking dick and giving up pussy just to have a place to stay. I know bitches that have stayed in trailer parks, a mobile home, sucking dick. That they normally would charge $200 to suck. they sucking it for free because they need a place to stay.
Listen.
Yo, these hoes is broke. These hoes is homeless.
Listen, coming from
And guess what? And if you can find one of these broke baddies that's homeless, fuck them.
What's wrong with them?
No, man. Ain't no way. I bust my ass to get a good job, to go to school, late nights, early mornings, working and going to school. Ain't no way in hell you bitches think that body was gonna last. You could go buy a brand new car, and the moment you pull that bitch off the parking lot, it depreciated. What the fuck did you think your pussy was gonna do? Get your shit together. I don't understand.
They thought they could get a new pussy like these men be doing. Hey, what's wrong with these hoes?
What's wrong with them?
Hey, man, so there was a woman, she was on the new cast of tonight's conversation. She went and asked them a question. I think she's 23. She stated her age was 23. She said that she had been with her boyfriend for a minute. She had got cancer in her brain and had surgery or whatever, so she couldn't take care of herself for a while. Her boyfriend took off from his job, basically took care of her to the point where even helping her use the bathroom and clean herself up. She then said, like, hey, I've been better for a couple months now. My boyfriend, he doesn't work right now, and he hasn't been taking me on dates lately, and I'm feeling grown, and I want to be appreciated, and I want to be able to be taken out. How long should I wait to feel appreciated? What's wrong with these hoes?
What's wrong? Hey, we started off talking about offended. Brother, you should be offended. That's disrespectful. I took care of you and did all this for you, and you want to bug me to go out. You should be happy. Watching a movie, you should be happy to be able to do that, because if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be here. I guess it's just, it goes to communication. I know week in, week out, y'all was like, oh, it's always about talking and stating your feelings and saying how you feel. Yeah. If you're bored, just say, it's like, hey, I want to go out. I like you unappreciative, ungrateful. Like, that's what a lot of people's pet peeves is, just ungratefulness. It's like somebody's doing something for you, but I guess you just have this thoughts in your head. It's like something somebody's supposed to do. And if they don't know, how the hell, you don't know what you don't know. So tell them, it's like, hey, suggest it. And it's like, if they are doing something for you, man, it's like, probably like, I ain't gonna say you owe them for life, or you owe your life, but man, did a lot for you, man.
That's audacity was at an all-time high. Audacity, my definition, loud and wrong. Bitch, why would you walk your ass down there? Nobody had to know that. Nobody knew who you were. What did you think that they were going to say? Sometimes I think a lot of these females, they be wanting a lot of attention. I don't know who you thought on the panel or who you thought in the audience was going to ever look at you, or who you thought in the world was going to ever look at you and think that you were justified. So either you really that crazy, or you really just got a lot of audacity. Furthermore, my brother, get you a lawyer. File that bitch on your taxes. Do something. Recoup your money. Because as a woman, I don't understand that. That means you never really liked Buddy. You didn't like him. You used him. You took advantage of him. You took advantage of his heart. You took advantage of his finances. Where was your family at when you was broke, dusted, and busted, and he was taking care of you? I don't understand that, man. It's we living in some sick times, man. I can't even wrap my mind around it. And when I watched her, it's crazy because it was like everybody in the audience just started to cringe. Like, the more she talked, the more everybody was just like, okay, he did that. Oh. And then as soon as she was like, but I'm not happy and I don't want to be with him. Like, first off, just tell him that. But why would you get in front of the world? The amount of energy and the amount of audacity that you had to get in front of a bunch of people knowing that they record and post this stuff on live, Beyonce's internet, as the people will say, why wouldn't you just have a conversation with him? You obviously don't give a damn. So it's just strange. I don't know what her motives was behind that. I don't know what he need to do to get his, hey man, file that. Look, it's tax season. If you took care of her, as long as you said you took care of her, file her as a dependent on your taxes and recoup your money, man. That's crazy. That's some sick stuff, bro.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Me and MJ talked about it. And I say it's crazy because it's married people that don't do that.
Right.
It's plenty of stories of people that are married, have been married for years. One of them gets sick like this. and the spouse be like, yo, I didn't sign up to take care of you like this or whatever.
Hey, let me add to that. I saw an interview today. It's this guy. I don't know his name, but he usually has a very spiritual podcast. And these couple that I watch on Instagram, they was on there, and they always make funny videos and stuff like that. But she got sentimental, and she said she was having a heart arrhythmias, and she's married to this man. He could have easily left. It was very early on, before they got married and right into their marriage, where he stuck by her. And this man, literally, this minister or whatever he is, he said the majority of married couples, like you just said, they don't even do that. There's people, he said, I've been talking to people in the health field, and they'll be in the hospital. Somebody will get devastating news, and that'll be the moment they spouse will like, I didn't sign up for this. Yep. Well, reality is, yes, the hell you did. You said for better or for worse. So this man ain't even married to you. I'm sorry, Bert. Go ahead.
No, you're right, bro. No, you're definitely right. Like the fact that he basically did husband activities, that should have told you right there, this is the love of my life. I'm going to marry this man, and I'm going to stay by him no matter what. Because guess what? After doing something like that, there's a level of depression people fall into sometimes. Yeah. A level of mental anguish people fall in. Like, bro, let me keep it real with you. Like, yo, it's one thing to wipe a baby's ass. To wipe a grown person's ass is different.
It is.
Like, that's different to wipe a grown. So for him to have done that, you know, motherfuckers don't want to be in the room when you taking a shit. This motherfucker was wiping your ass and feeding you and doing all kind of other shit for you because you couldn't do it. You had to scratch your nose was itchy. This nigga scratching your nose for you. Like, that's a level of dedication and commitment that a lot of husbands don't show. So for him to show that as a boyfriend, like, that should just really be like, yo, this should have been the one. But man, sadly and unfortunately, you know, like with some of the topics of tonight when we've been talking about ungrateful women, like, we just live in a society of women who they expect X, Y, and Z. Like, they expect a man to do all of the above and not understanding that some of the stuff that a man does for you, like, that should not be just expected. That's some shit like, yo, you should be grateful to have a man that just do some shit like that, because not every nigga is doing that kind of stuff right there. And that, I was saddened by this story. I was really saddened by this story because, you know, Valentine's weekend is next weekend. I'm someone that wants to believe in true, deep love. And, you know, to see that, yo, do you know how many women, when you talking about, Nicole, about people, the crowd was looking disgusted, the reason why is there are women who are on their knees every night praying to the Lord for a man who would take care of them like that, for a man who will honor them like that, for a man who would truly love them like that. Because you can't have sex during this time period. So this man is truly with you just for you.
Yeah.
And and I see this all the time from like homegirls and just online. Women be truly disgusted when they be like, this ungrateful hoe got the quote unquote perfect man, got the man that I'm busting my ass to try to prove I deserve. And he's with your trifling ass that don't appreciate the type of man. And this is why I always tell people, you got to be in the streets to understand what you got. Like, and that's men and women.
Yeah, you got to go over there on the other side of that grass, because you. I remember in school, man, I had that conversation with me and MGH. Like you said, Matthew, we really do have a lot of deep conversations. He's very a think type person. But that grass on the green on the other side mentality, man, like, you gonna think that you thinking that you didn't miss out on anything. She's never gonna have anybody that would ever be willing to do anything like that. First off, you done made yourself public. But furthermore, it's like, and I won't dog pile on just the women. I won't do that. I will say that it's a two-way street. There are a lot of
it go both ways.
Women that are real good, but they men don't appreciate them. But I will say,
get in the streets, you see,
when you out there and you out there and you start fishing in them ponds and you realize the pond got piss in it, then you were like, dang, I had the biggest bass that I thought I was gonna get a bigger bass, and
all I can catch now is these oversized goldfish
or whatever the hell they is, them sea monsters, the river monsters.
I'm lucky if I get a catfish, bro. Like, and that's the sad part. I always tell a lot of people, man, hey, you gotta actually be in that dating world, because when you're in that dating world, you can't appreciate a good man or woman until you done had a bad man or woman. Because if you talk to someone who's dated shitty people, when they get a spouse that's actually amazing,
it's appreciative.
The appreciation is just a whole nother level. But if you start off dating somebody who's gold, I promise you, it's hard to appreciate it because you don't understand how shitty it can be out there in the dating pool.
You didn't work for it. It's just like, I remember when I went off to college, I didn't get a car at first, right? And then I came home my freshman year. My grandmother was like, all right, let's go ahead and get you a car. Now, don't get it twisted. I appreciated my car. I valued my car. But it was a big difference in my value and my appreciation for the car that she got me versus the very first car that I paid for myself. I didn't want people to ride close to me. I didn't want people to park close to me. You think I cared about where I parked at and how fast I drove and what I did in the car that my grandmother got me? And again, I'm a very grateful person. But there's a difference when you have to work harder for it, when you have to put in, you got skin in the game. It sounded like to me she didn't have no skin in the game. And as much as I feel bad for my brother, there's something about him that he needs counseling on as well, because you gave out a lot. Either she just stopped giving out her love, her emotion, her affection towards you, and you just kept doing what you were doing, or you were trying to prove yourself to her. And my brother, you cannot do that. When you're trying to prove your love and your existence to someone, it's like Jill Scott said, if I gave you a silver platter, would it even matter? You'll still be mad. I can give you everything. I can buy you the world. And it's going to be an empty void. It's going to be like dropping a penny into a jar that's never filled. Some people, you cannot fill their cup. And you should not be filling the cup of anybody that you're pouring out. Your overflow. You're supposed to be pouring out of your overflow, not out of your what's in there. And so this mentality that this brother probably sat somewhere and really thought, I want to prove how much I love her. I want to prove that I'm here for her. I want to prove my undevoted love for her to just throw it like that. And how would y'all react if y'all had a woman that did? Would y'all even allow a woman to get that far with y'all?
Man, I'd have to really care for a woman and feel like the relationship was genuine for me to do all of that. But at the end of the day, man, if that happened to me, man, yeah, man, I'd be pissed. I'd be devastated because, yo, I did all this stuff for you, and this ain't no shit I do for every bitch now. I only do this for like women that I look at as like almost wifey material, basically, man. But just my last thoughts is it's sad overall because there are men and women on both sides that are with the wrong people at the end of the day. Because there are men out here who are truly doing the right thing as a man with the woman they with, and that woman don't give a damn. And there are women out here who are doing their big one with some men, and those men don't give a damn. And it's just so sad because it's just when I look online, when I look in society, when I look at people around me, it just seems like the wrong people are connecting with each other. We got to find a way in society for the right people to connect, because there are women, they are amazing girlfriends and could be amazing wives, and there are men who are amazing boyfriends, could be amazing husbands. They just got to click up with each other and leave some of these scallywags behind, man. Moving on to the last topic of the night. So Common had, this was an interview Common talked about, where he talked about what it means to be authentic. And he said, back in the day when he was on his vegan tip, Coca-Cola wanted him to do a commercial. And, he denied it the first time. They kept coming to him. He kept denying it. His mom, siblings, and family and friends was like, you got to do it. It's a lot of money. So then they finally offered him a large sum of money. So he decided to do the commercial. But in the commercial, he put some stipulations that he could write his own lyrics for the jingle, as well as he didn't have to touch the Coke can, and he didn't have to say drink Coke, Coca-Cola, in the little, commercial. So I looked at the commercial just to find out was it true or not. And when you watch the commercial, I can't think of the singer C's, but it's an actual popular singer next to him on stage. It could have been Lauryn Hill, man, but it's a singer on stage though that's next to him. They actually are drinking Coca-Cola. He doesn't touch a Coca-Cola can one time. The song, he doesn't say nothing about Coca-Cola at all, but he talks about being authentic, being real, and his whole message in the video, in the interview he did was, when you're authentic, greater things happen for you than when you're not authentic, because you lose your brand. C's, what do you think about it? And also, do you think him doing the commercial, was he still authentic doing it, or because he did it the way he wanted to do it, he was able to keep his authenticity?
I think when you have creative control, you're able to be authentic. So I mean, like, if you stay, like, we can all sit there and say, well, if you felt that way, you should have did a commercial at all. Stand on business, blah blah blah, whatever. There's ways that you can still stick to your principles and do something you necessarily wouldn't do before. That's why it's important in these times where you got a lot of people like TikTok stars and Instagram people that are famous off of their likeness and their brands, and it's like, it was somebody I followed, and he was basically talking about, he was like, I'm not gonna sell something to people who follow me, like the people who follow me on these social media outlets. I'm not gonna give them a BS product just because somebody paid me, which is something I agree with. Like, if I was doing something, I'm not gonna sell somebody a BS product. I'm gonna actually have something like, hey man, I actually use this. I'm giving you real, authentic, raw stuff. Like, I'm not just gonna, like, if I was making YouTube videos, I'm not just gonna sit there and grift, basically the word, grifters, and try to sell you like, hey, you should buy this pistol, you should buy this silencer, you should get this car, you should get this laptop, you should get this phone, or you should use this product because they're paying me. They're telling me, what did Petey Pablo say? Seagram's gin because I drink it and they pay me for it. So I mean, there's ways to control it. Just like it didn't make the cut these last few weeks, but I want to say the guy, his name Kagan, but it's this African dude used to do the memes where he hold his hands out and be like, why? Yeah. And he wouldn't say nothing. He literally made like $100 million brand deal where he still has somewhat control, but I mean, a lot of it's like they're able to use AI and use his likeness. He's a shareholder, so he still owns his brand. That, with the caveat with that is, and the warning is like, hey man, you really want to be careful to use your image because they could be selling some BS product or some BS campaign, and it's got your name attached to it. This is why I'm a foot stomp. It's real important to how you able to sell yourself. Like, if you're these people that don't care and you just care about money, and it's all about money at the end of the day, whatever. It doesn't matter. But if you're talking about being real and authentic, and a lot of these podcasts and shows and just different things and personas people are putting out, there's ways you can remain true to your character and what you support. It's just like me. Like, if you got a brand deal today and it was some BS, like let's just say it was some brand or some outlet or enclave of media or something product that was trying to back us and have a deal. It's like, yo, hey, we do this deal, I need a large percentage of ownership. You're not going to tell me what I can say or what I can't say. You're not going to control me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I was doing this before. All you're doing now is just, you should be funding me to get my message, make my message bigger, the bigger platform to get it out to more people. Stay true to yourself and what you stand on. It's like, people say stand on business, be about your business. So I mean, like, authenticity is like, authentic is going to be determined by the person that's putting it out. But I mean, people can tell when you're genuine and people can tell when you're being real. So I mean, there's a ton of ways to control it, man.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I can see both sides. If I could see some people being like, nigga, you did a commercial, nigga, you took the money, shut up. You took the money. But I tend to look at it like you. Like, he did a commercial, his family got the money, like it was a lot of money, but he was able to kind of dictate, the rules of engagement. And I think like that's very powerful for Black people in like the entertainment industry, because a lot of times we don't get to dictate how we're going to partake in the system that we're in a lot of the times. So for him to say, hey, I don't want y'all to tell me what I got to say in this song. I don't want y'all to tell me I got to, have Coke in my hand. I even got to take a sip of it, because I'm telling you right now, I don't necessarily believe in this, but I'm willing to do the commercial. And, I'm even going to say certain things to let people know what's up. I think that's dope. I think being authentic and real is important, because one thing that I always kind of like over the last 7-8 years, I got frustrated with, you'd have celebrities And should you trust them? Now, I'm not gonna say you should trust them, but you feel like you trust them because you see them all the time. They pushing brands and pushing stuff on you that they don't take themselves, they don't eat themselves, they pushing pills on you for whatever reason, and they don't use them pills or whatever, and that can kind of like that leads people down a bad path because it's like, well, I took these vitamins because Sabrina Carpenter says she take them or whatever, and they give her energy when in reality she doesn't. Well, I took these pills because Frank Thomas, the baseball player, man, said, that when he turned 40, his testosterone was down, and now he take these pills, and he's able to go to the gym, but they didn't, he didn't say that these pills had me fucked up or whatever. Like, yeah, a lot of that stuff can be very harmful, and can be very fucked up. So, like, for common to say, hey, man, this is what I did. This was the rules of engagement in it. I think that's very important right there, man. I fuck with Common for the most part. And like I said, I can see some people giving the criticism of he should have done it anyway. He should have held out and said, I don't care, regardless of the money that you throw at me, I'm going to just do a water commercial or whatever. But at the same time, if he's not necessarily pushing the product, which when you watch the video, he's not telling people to drink Coke. He's just saying, be true to yourself, be authentic, and just be real. I feel like that's cool. Granted, I ain't gonna lie. You just gonna see him in the video with another bitch who drinking Coke and he rapping, and you might not even have the wherewithal to understand that he's not promoting Coke. So, that's why I say I can definitely see the double standards. But at the end of the day, when you make a choice, man, hey, be true to yourself, man. Like C said, like if anything was to happen with what we got going on right now, man, I want to make sure like we got creative freedom to do what we want to do. I don't want to be told, hey, we want y'all to talk about this week, and we want one of y'all to say this. And I'd be like, well, none of us believe that, though. None of us believe that, Israel is right. Or none of us believe that the ICE agents are doing the proper thing as, federal agents or whatever. But since we got you on this contract, we need y'all to kind of promote this shit or whatever. And since we paying y'all, this what y'all going to do. Nah, man, I'm like you, C's. I just want to have more creative freedom in what I'm saying and what I'm expressing, because I don't want someone to tell me what I have to think and what I have to put out to the masses, because I want to be real to myself, and I want to be real to the people that actually might hear what I got to say and see me.
Yeah, he was promoting Coke. He took the money. There was nothing wrong with that. For him to come back and try to say like, oh yeah, I did it like this because it did like this. No, you was promoting Coke. You did the commercial. It's plain and simple. Ain't no both ways of the street. He might make himself feel better, but you did the job that you was told to do. And for the fact that I understand he got to do this, he got some more people paid, but he did the job that he was told to do. And he got paid for it. You know what I'm saying? Just because he's rapping and not rapping and saying not sipping on it, you still promoting it. You did that.
It made me think of Call Me Now, McCleo. Hey man, if y'all ain't never watched that documentary, to see how them people, your name, your intellectual property, and your image, you got to be mindful of what you're putting out there, because either you just not business savvy enough to read your contracts, look into what you're doing, but you have to take ownership for what you're doing. Now, she knew that she considered herself a psychic, whether that's true or not, depending on what you believe, whatever. But she allowed them to not only use the gimmick, but use her name sake, so that when these phone companies came back later on and was like, man, you got people suing us because they got these big old bills because you didn't hit all of these hidden fees and these calls, and you didn't kept these people on the phone for a long time. Everybody knew what was going on. Man, them people took her through the mud. When that woman died and left here, she didn't have nothing. They took everything from her, from a corporation that had it. You got to be mindful about what you signing yourself up for. And don't, like you said, don't go back and double track. You did it. Take ownership for it. She was in denial about it, even up into her death. Or you could look at people like probably controversial, but Raven Simone. As someone that grew up watching a lot of the stuff that she played on, there's just certain strategic moves, whether it be her family or whether it later on being her, that she made that a lot of child stars did not make, that made her look bad back in the day. Things that were said, things that she didn't do, that now, regardless of how much in the limelight or how much of a public opinion have about her, woman ain't hurting for nothing. And she's made smart decisions. At the end of the day, where's your integrity? You know you pushing a product, you know that you don't agree with it, but you know you wanted that check. Can you be bought? Is the money worth it? And at the end of the day, it don't matter what everybody else think about you. What do you think about you? If you felt some type of way enough to bring this conversation back up, it's not like they brought it up. You brought it up. So what's the problem? I'm agreeing with you. I think I think Buddy just trying to double back and make his little self feel comfortable and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, bro, you did the commercial. When Michael Jackson worked with Pepsi, he did the commercial. Do you know when this man got burnt on that stage, he still promoted Pepsi after that? It wasn't like it was an end all be all. People be wanting the money. You want the money, you want the fame, you want the moment. And if you're going to do it, live with it. Don't make choices that you're going to regret later on and have to explain to somebody.
And there's a thing, like a lot of people will admit, like you see people do like interviews 20 years later, 15 years later, later on in their life, they look back, it was like, yeah, man, at that time I was in a different headspace, I was young, whatever excuse they use. And it's like, sometimes we gotta let people actually, when they admit they're wrong, it's like, hey, I didn't know this company was doing all that, or I didn't know what I was pushing. And it's like, yeah, I took the money, man. It's like, at the time I needed it, I was broke, whatever. Or, hey, it's like, I just thought it was simply this. Come to find out, yeah, I messed up. And it's like, we got to allow people to say, like, give them the space to say, yeah, I should have did this, man. I did that when I was younger. I don't believe that now. As long as you're willing to admit it, it's like, hey, man, I had some views that weren't don't align with how I view life now, or what I.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because people change.
Yeah, and that's part of being authentic too. Is being able to say I was wrong, or I shouldn't have pushed this, or they fooled me. I got okie doke just like y'all did. I got paid for it, but shoot.
But yeah, sometimes, man, I mean, you use the devil to do God's work sometimes, man. Sometimes you might be like, you know what, I don't fuck with the Breakfast Club, but I want to put a message out there, and I know this is one of the biggest platforms to put that message out there too. So yeah, I could be like, yo, I'm not gonna go to Breakfast Club because fuck them niggas, I don't fuck with them. Or guess what? I could go to Breakfast Club, and unlike these other motherfuckers, I'm gonna put out a message that I actually want to put out because I'm reaching the masses. Like sometimes that happens too. You get a lot of times where it's like, yo, what is the platform that I can go to reach the most amount of people? Like there have been people who use the Super Bowl. We talked about the Super Bowl earlier tonight, who have used it to promote political stuff, who put out their messages. Kendrick, a lot of people talk about how great his performance was. It wasn't great from a musical choice, if you ask me, but it was great in the sense of he had a message he wanted to put out. And there are some people that be like, yo, the Super Bowl and the NFL is racist and all this other stuff. Why would someone like him perform? Well, guess what? If I got a message that I want to put out there, and I feel like this is one of the biggest platforms out there, like I'm gonna try to use it to put the message out there. Now, sometimes it just be bullshit, man. But there's many different reasons why you might do something, why you might not do something. But at the end of the day, you got to be okay with the decisions you make. So if you do something just for the money, that's cool, man. Like at the end of the day, we all need money to survive, live, and thrive. Money make the world go around. And you can do a lot of stuff with money. But long as you are okay with that decision, you got to be okay with that decision. At the bottom line, like I'm cool with what Common said though, man, for the most part, man, because like when he broke it down the way he broke it down, and when you listen to the jingle, like I said, there's gonna be some people, fuck it, you standing next to the Coke bottle, you in the Coke commercial, you promoting it, but at the same time, man, if you listen to the jingle and you hear what he's talking about, like I can see that standpoint that he's making too, man. Speaking of being authentic and real, it's been a real night, y'all, man. What's your final thoughts?
Yeah, man. It's probably not going to be a topic. It's too much to get into with the Epstein files, man. What's the distraction, bro? So it's I got a lot of theories and a lot of windows I could go in, but I was like, silver, gold prices fell. J.P. Morgan made $100 billion, paid a $1 billion fine. And maybe something. It's like it's a million pages. What's really the distraction? We're now in an era where it's like deny, delay, distract. What's the other word I'm trying to? It's two words, but it's like D&D, man. It's distraction and delay. You know, just putting your mind on different things. But I mean, like, pay attention, man. There's a lot of things going on, man. ICE people being deported. The price of things are going up. The stock market's being manipulated. So it's like, man, like, this is it's easy. Like, there was a guy that basically said it's a million files, everything's redacted. They could easily make up a document. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like somebody can take a screenshot and put Epstein all over it. People will believe it. So be careful what you put before your eyes. And my last thought besides that is, man, every day history is being made. It's not just a month. This is our lives. We are Black history, and Black history is American history.
Yeah, man. To what you said about this being Black History Month, you know, started doing what we normally do on the TikTok page the last couple of years, and we done started posting Black people who have contributed to not just Black culture, but American culture, world culture, history in tremendous ways. I wanted to shout out Dr. Gladys West, who passed away last week. She was a mathematician, and because of what she did in the math field, she basically helped create the GPS system that we use today. And like, that is one of the beautiful things about Black history. There are so many things, like inventions, so many things that we use today that so many Black people have created. And that doesn't even count the amount of things Black people have created that they haven't even gotten the credit for. Because there's a lot of things that Black people have created that they don't even get the credit for, man. So, you know, hey, Black is beautiful, man. This is a wonderful month, and you know, at the end of every episode this month, you know, we're gonna try to throw a Black person out there for y'all. Hopefully, y'all do y'all research and y'all continue to educate yourselves. In the words of Airbnb, Rakim, peace.
Yeah, Black people created everything. Catch us at the next light, man. We in traffic, and I'm back quiet.
See, life's an open book, go read a chapter. And in this world, there's no living happily ever after. Stepping on a beat like a shootout, but it's forever cap. But who would ever think in this world that I would go be a rapper? Niggas said my bars were too dope. Does that make me a trapper? Wise man looking to the highs of a young man dying. He can see it in his soul. He walking with a 9, it's a sign. If you read between the lines, you can see this motherfucker heart's cold. No need for me to showboat. My mama had 13 kids and I am number 4 when I go loco. Don't do this for no promo. I keep the burner up on the stove when I'm solo. I smoke to get high, facing blunts, Ryan Dolo. You think you go get over on me, nigga, that's a no-go. 1 shot, 2 shot, nigga, that's a BOGO. We really need to pray for the youth. They out here dying fast. Soon as the pin go off, they see the iron flash. I ain't talking DC, how quickly we killing raw for cash. Might take off my Robin mask and go put on my business suit. Froze on, hard cold. Honey, was my super suit. Honey, was my super suit.